Got it.
Welcome to the Delvin Cox Experience, the podcast in which each week I'm on a one-man mission to unite our culture through diversity. I'm your host, Delvin Cox, and with me on the podcast this week, somebody I consider a friend, a very good friend, brother in arms, somebody who they keep saying we look alike.
Yeah. Hold on. There you go. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Boom.
Exactly. There's actually a picture on the internet that has my body and my face and it's your face, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's your face and your body with my name under it. They're like, oh, no, that works. But
hey, man, it be like that sometimes. We all look alike.
Yeah. So welcome back to the experience, my friend, my brother, Rob from the Random Ramblers with Rob podcast and the RBR podcast. How you doing, brother?
Man, I am here. And anytime I got the time and the opportunity to sit down and chat with your homeboy, you best believe I'll be here.
Yeah, we got to do this a lot more often.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I got to work a lot less.
Yeah, that too. As always, we like to start the podcast off with the 5 for 5.
I've been waiting on this since Crystal was here.
5 questions, 5 answers to get the ball rolling. Rob, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Well, I got some random questions for you.
Oh, shit.
Question number 1.
I'm ready.
Which one was more influential? Robert Townsend or Keenan Ivory Wayans?
To me, I would say Keenan Ivory Wayans because he put his whole family on, and that was just like, that stuck with me more than anything. You know, not all the accomplishments that they did as Black entertainers, but that he took his family with him and he put his family on and they family put their family on. And it's still going today with their kids and all that shit, doing entertainment and making movies and all kind of stuff. So
that's a solid point.
So that stuck more to me than, you know, Robert Townsend did break some barriers and everything and did a lot of things for Black people. And some people would argue against that point in some aspects when it comes to certain individuals that may or may not be in jail right now, eating Jell-O pudding and stuff like that. But Keenan Ivory Wayans, that's my pick.
I like that answer. A lot. Question number 2.
I'm ready.
If you could pick one television dad, Black television dad, to be your dad, who are you going with?
There's so many good ones.
Yeah.
But
let me clarify this. Clarify this for somebody else. Mm-hmm. You're picking the character. You're not picking the person.
Not the actual person.
So, like, if you pick Bill Cosby, you're not picking the rapist. You're picking Cliff Huxtable.
You're on punishment. Eat this pudding. Just pass the fuck out. Damn. He's like, how long I've been out? You've been punished for 2 weeks. Got an IV drip in my arm and everything. But you know, the first one that comes to my mind when you ask the question would be Uncle Phil. You know, he was wise enough to let you get into trouble and, you know, teach you lessons after the fact, you know, advise you beforehand to hopefully persuade you to not, you know, go down that wrong path. And the motherfucker was paid too, you know. Yeah. He was a judge. He was a lawyer then he became a judge. So I know if I got into some real shit, you know, I'd be like, hey, well, Pops, please help me, please.
And he seemed like a cool lawyer and judge. I think he was the defense attorney, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to have.
Yeah. I like everything about Uncle Phil. I wasn't a big Cosby Show fan when I was a kid because I was like, that's not real. That's not my life. That's not what I see every day.
Yeah.
I kind of liked the Jeffersons more because I felt when I was a kid, at least, because I felt like George Jefferson was realistic. He self-made, successful, didn't fall into the in line with white culture in terms of like he talked shit about him just like we do. Like you have that uncle that does.
Yeah.
And
so I mean, I know we got to do the 5 for 5 and everything.
But
let's kind of peel that layer back a little bit or whatnot. Because I think we might be kind of in the same place as far as like, you know, what you just said, to where like I looked at the Cosby Show, you know, as a great, you know, bit of comedy and everything, but it was nothing really that I could relate to.
Yes.
You know, because I mean, I didn't grow up in that type of environment. I mean, my parents were well off and they took care of me and they spoiled the shit out of me. But I mean, we didn't live in the best establishment or in the best neighborhood and shit. So it was just kind of like hard. I enjoyed the comedy, but it was hard for me to kind of relate to that.
Exactly. I feel like I didn't start relating to shows like that maybe until like the 90s, till like the Fresh Prince and stuff like that. Like that was more akin to what I seen, like Will being a kid from Philly, then getting in a cool situation with his uncle. To me, my grandmother was like Uncle Phil to me in terms of that. Like, hey, my grandmother, she's kind of well off and things like that. So on the weekends, I would come to our house and she would buy us all kind of shit. Like we go to the flea market and she'd give us $20 to $40. And this how back in the day this was. This is before video games really popping.
Yeah.
So at the flea market, I would find all kind of NES games for like $5.
The NES games and the little Tiger handheld joints.
Yes. So I would just buy a stack of them and come home with them, and my cousins play games all day. And that was kind of our thing every weekend. Then when it was time for us to when it was like school time, we go to the flea market. She'd buy us a pair of Nikes. That was the thing.
Mm-hmm. I think that person to me in my life was one of my older sisters, Wanda. And, you know, her husband had a real good job, well enough to where he took care of all the kids and her and whatnot. And I would always beg and plead with my pops, be like, hey, can I go to Wanda's house? Can I go to my sister's house? Can I go to my sister's house? Because her son, you know, my nephew had all the shit. He had all the latest consoles. He had all the games. He had a trampoline. He had all that stuff. And we just, he had all the things that I wanted. I mean, it's not like I didn't have things, but like he had cooler shit.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that was one of the benefits of being a child of a divorced family. My dad would always buy me the system. Like, hey, all right, I ain't around, but here go this PlayStation 1 or here go this NES or here go this N64. Till I got to I want to say till I got to like junior high school, then he stopped doing that. And my stepdad kind of started doing that more. But otherwise, man, you know.
And then there's like an inverse to that thing, whatever, to where there's like two different scenarios in that thing, to where like, you know, your dad was around, but he wasn't really around. So like you could have went the path of like, oh, fuck that dude, you know, and you know, your life could have been a totally different situation.
Yes.
Or you know, where it is now, where it looks like on the surface. Cause I mean, I don't know per se, but just what you're giving me is just like, it was a pretty good relationship. Then you had somebody to kind of take up that slack in the meantime.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of the answer.
Yeah, because my brother, he has a son that's a day older than me.
Oh shit!
You know, so my nephew, right? My nephew is a day older than me, so we grew up together. So I looked at my nephew as kind of like my brother because we were the same age. Because my brothers and sisters are significantly older than me. You know, they're like parent and grandparent age to me. You know, as a child. So, you know, he had that because my brother was in the military and he didn't stay with his mom. So it was just like he would go off to Germany and do all these other things with the military, but he would keep, you know, him taken care of. He would send him money for shoes. He would buy him shoes. Anytime he would come back from deployments or wherever, when he was back in town, they would go hang out. He'd buy him all kind of shit, you know, the systems and the consoles and all that stuff. But, you know, his mom was, you know, she was strict on him and everything. And I don't know, it was just like it was just crazy. But he just like, he was the opposite. It's just like, he'd be telling my brother, fuck him and all kind of stuff. And they always button heads and all kinds of shit like that. And I'm just like, you know, I got to pull him to the side a lot of times and be like, hey man, I mean, I know how you feel or whatever. I mean, I can't really relate because I've always had my mom and dad, but you know, your dad is my brother. And, you know, and I, you know, and it's just like, he talked to me because, you know I'm still young, but he's still my brother. And this is just like, we talk about you and it's just like how he feel about, you know, because I would join the military later. So we had that relationship too, to where like, you know, he would confide in me and shit about him. And then I'm like, oh man, I didn't know you felt like that because you would also treat me like a little brother too, you know? So, and I mean, hey man, you just really need to talk to him. That's all that conversation go. All right. Question number 3.
Question number 3. That was a great answer, by the way. Great answer.
All this life trauma.
All right. question up to Lucy, I can lighten this up a little bit. What does B-Rob like to do for fun when he's not podcasting, eating hooks, rubs, and spices, or working?
My wife. Oh man, no lie, it's just like I want to play video games. You know,
what are you playing right now?
Man, I got tons and tons of games, but I wind up falling back to like the same three. So I'm playing Black Ops, Cold War and shit, and then I'm playing NBA 2K22,
which is good.
And then I'm kind of here and there playing. I just recently got back into Batman Arkham Knight, so I just been going through playing all the fighting missions and shit. I don't even want to play the story. I just want to go beat up some motherfuckers and shit. It's a de-stressor because I can't really go beat up motherfuckers in real life. I mean, I could, but I have to suffer the consequences of my actions. But like, this is a controlled environment. I can just go throw hands on motherfuckers, hit them with a batarang, and just go on about my business.
I hated the tank missions in that game.
Oh my God.
They are so bad.
Yeah, it came down to like, we were excited because the 2 games previous, we didn't really have, a big presence with the Batmobile, but this one, it was way too fucking much.
Yeah. I like driving the Batmobile around the city. That's cool. But when they're like, hey, you got to turn this to a tank and shoot these dumbass things, I'm like, oh no. I don't want to do
You got to jump through the thing. Then you got to chase the dude, the Firefly guy through the city. I don't like that. No.
Yeah, we're not a fan of that at all.
No, like 0 stars.
All right, that's cool. I'm glad.
But video games, my wife, and we love movies. I mean, if you see me online or whatever, I mean, my collection, I collect physical media, like as far as movies go or whatever.
You
video
and
games,
I both.
Video games. That's all digital, but like movies, I got to have the box, the case. I got to have it.
Yeah, I have so many. I started on my Patreon giving away movie codes.
I was doing that for a good while, and then one day I went somewhere and I didn't have like good internet to do anything, and I was like, wait a minute, let me download some shit out of my iTunes account. And I had like some old ass movie codes that I put into my account a long time ago. So it was like I Am Number 4, Prince of Persia.
I think I Am Number 4 on my iTunes.
Yeah, fucking Prince of Persia. I think I had SummerSlam 2011, John Cena versus CM Punk. That's that match, not the whole pay-per-view, just that match. I had a South Park episode. I think it was like the Human Centipede or whatever, when Apple was fucking people with the terms and conditions and shit. Nobody was really reading them. And so they had a condition in there to where if you agreed, you got sold into a human centipede and shit. So I had like random shit like that. Then I think I bought a new movie and I had the code. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just hold on to these now because I never know when I'll be in that situation again. I need to download some shit to watch.
I like having physical copies because like if you got Blu-rays and stuff, it just looks better.
Yeah.
And when you try to stream it, it looks terrible.
Yeah, and it's better sound quality if you got a surround sound.
Yeah, way
on the disc. Because we watched This Means War or whatever on some streaming service, and it got explosions and all kind of other shenanigans in it. And I was like, this is whack.
Yeah.
And then I go get the disc just to satisfy my curiosity. I put it in there, bass is booming and all kind of shit. I was like, yeah, this is what we should have did.
Yeah, I recently watched because like the DC animated films.
Oh yeah.
They had one. I watched it recently because on HBO Max called Batman. I think it's called Soul of the Dragon.
Oh, I hadn't seen that one.
It's really good. It's basically a 70s Batman story.
You got Afro wig, platform boots.
Kinda, yeah. It's kind of like that. It's with can't remember who's in it. But basically, I have to show. I'm gonna show it to you when we get off the show. But
all right,
I was watching it, and I had to stop because I have it on Blu-ray too, but I just never popped it in. I had to stop watching it because the stream started looking so bad. I'm like, fuck this. This is not worth it.
And that's you might just have a bad day when a storm coming in, you fuck up with your connection, and and then they'll throttle down your bit rate and all
exactly.
Kind of stuff.
That's
so
what it is.
like So my wife will go up there with the kid and they about to watch a movie. I was like, what y'all about to watch? Oh, such and such. I was like, wait a minute. We got that. Why you ain't putting it in the thing? He's like, oh, it's on the streaming. I was like, nope. Put the disc in. I know you probably didn't want to get up, but I'll do it for you.
Only thing I stream is like Netflix shows and things like that. Stuff I cannot buy. And even then, sometimes I buy them. Like when they have like the Stranger Things, Blu-rays and stuff, I buy those.
Yeah. Like some of the newer shows I don't have. I think the only show that I'm trying to get the rest of the disc for is Supernatural. So I'm missing like season, I think 10, some odd ass numbers because it's 15 seasons in total. I think I'm missing like maybe 2 or 3 seasons out of the whole thing. So I got to figure out which ones those are.
DVDs or Blu-ray?
I just went with the freaking collection was already up to like 8 seasons already on DVD, so I was just like, I ain't gonna mix and match them. I just went all DVD for those.
I asked because I usually see, it's another hobby of mine. I usually see those DVDs, like the whole collection, in like pawn shops.
Yeah, I went and did that this past weekend, dog. They got a game exchange out here, so they got I got an original Xbox down here and a PlayStation 2, so I went there to try to find some games for these, and they have Blu-rays there. So I was like, oh shit. And then they had a sign that's like, we buy and sell Blu-rays and DVDs. So what I like to do sometimes, if I go to Walmart or some other place or a pawn shop, they have a copy of Blu-ray of something that I have on DVD for cheap. I'll upgrade. So I'll take the DVD off the shelf, put it in the corner, put the Blu-ray up there. And then by the time I get a whole stack of shit that I done replaced or upgraded, I take them to the store and I trade them in and I get movies and shit from them for the Blu-ray copy. So
that's smart. That's real smart.
And then I bought like fucking 4 movies for $3.85 from the pawn shop. So it's like, fuck it.
Now you're making a deal. So next time I go, I hit you up and see what you want from there. And I'll mail it to you. That's not a problem.
All right. Feeding my addiction. You see these track marks?
Question number 4.
All right.
Who do you think, in your opinion, is the most influential wrestler of this generation?
Currently.
Currently, yes.
I could easily say Kenny Omega off the top of my head.
That's a good one. That's a solid choice.
But I think there's a movement going on in professional wrestling, especially because of piss poor practices at WWE right now.
Oh yeah.
There's pretty much like a power grab going on. Is these independent wrestlers and all these other different people are getting together and they're trying to form these companies and everything and try to make the industry and the community better. So right now, to the forefront of my head, it's because I like him. I got to see him live here not too long ago in Atlanta. Is Jonathan Gresham.
Yeah,
he's bringing a different. I mean, we can't even say a different style. He's just bringing back a more traditional style of professional wrestling, and through him, I'm being introduced to other styles of wrestling and other caliber of different professional wrestlers that I would have never been privy to had I not, found him. So Jonathan Gresham is one that sticks out to my mind right now. And plus I want to put him over as well for people who don't know who that is. And damn, I mean, that is a rather hard question because they got a lot of people that's doing a lot of good shit.
And wrestling is so different now.
Yes. It's the business aspect of it is professional wrestling, my opinion, is going through the change that the NBA went through.
Yeah.
To where like you had a different caliber player back then, but the business aspect and acumen of basketball players back then are not to the caliber of what we have today. Because now basketball players go in there with a fucking business plan on top of their game plan and everything. They find out ways to market themselves and everything and just expand their capital and whatnot, to where like basketball players back then was just like, hey, I'm coming to the game, pay me to play the game, and then some of them that wasn't even their focus. They just wanted to be the best, the number one back then, to where now they're thinking more about business aspect. I think it's the same thing with rap too. I think the rappers of old, well, the rappers of today are better business people than the rappers of old.
That is true. Very true.
And I think the rappers of today, despite what you may think of them lyrically or whatever, their business acumen, they figured out the game, you know, a little bit better than what we had back then and whatnot. Because here we are, 2022, and De La Soul just got the rights to their shit back not too long ago. You know,
yeah, that's crazy to think about, but that's true.
Because you know, they was taking advantage of people born in, you know, impoverished areas and whatnot, and that had a talent, and they exploited that shit, and they got over on them and whatnot, to where kids are literally seeing the game unfold on fucking YouTube. I as far as music goes, I credit Lil Wayne and Soulja Boy for the current crop of individuals that we have right now, for good or bad, because it made them vary up their styles, and Soulja Boy gave them the game as to where, like, you can take this independent shit way far or whatever. You know what I mean? As much Sherm or whatever the fuck Soulja Boy smoking right now, he's a smart motherfucker.
I agree. You're 100% right with that. You know, I credit, like, Soulja Boy, like you said, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, for showing artists that you don't just have to be an artist anymore. You can be a business owner. Dr. Dre as well. I appreciate that. You have people like Rihanna now who music is like her fourth revenue stream, maybe her fifth.
Yes.
She has so many other revenue streams. Cardi B too. And I think that's because of the path that the previous generation, the Jay-Z's, the Lil Waynes. It's crazy saying Lil Wayne's the previous generation, but he is.
Yeah.
Paved the way for.
Yeah, man. It's just somebody just got in their ear and be like, hey, man, invest. You know, it's cool to have that chain and everything. And whenever you can afford it, you know, splurge on yourself a little bit. You owe it to yourself, but you need to be putting more away on this end and investing in this end, things that'll be giving you money back rather than you just giving it out and getting nothing in return. Got to get on your kids about that shit, man. They want to get all these Fortnite skins and spend real money on fake money and shit.
I tell my son about that all the time.
Pissed me off to no end. I was like, you play the game and you get the shit for free anyway. You know, you enjoy playing the game, right? Yeah. So if you buy all this shit, you unlock all this shit or whatever, it takes some of the grind aspect away from the game. You don't want to play as hard or play the game as much anymore because you done paid for it and unlocked all the shit, you know?
Yeah. And I tell my son, like, how many skins you bought that you actually gonna use?
Yeah, you could only use one at a time.
I can understand if it was like, okay, this is a cool skin that I know I'm going to use occasionally, but he just be buying shit that he ain't going to use ever. Like what the fuck are you doing?
And it's just like, I don't know, because I tried to get on the younger one about that because the older one he too far gone. And I was just like, does it give you an advantage? Does it make you play better? Does it increase your stats or anything like that? I mean, that's you just giving your money away.
My thing I love to do, this is dad talk. My thing I love to do to my son is I look at how much money, because he spent a lot of fucking money on this Fortnite game. I look at how much money he spent on Fortnite. I'll be like, look how much money you spent in this game. With the money you spent in this game, you could have bought yourself a PS5, at least a PS5.
Yeah.
A long time ago, and every game that you want this year, you could have bought without me having to ask me for a single dime.
Yeah. See, and that's the same thing I had to preach to my boy, but I got him on a plan now, and I'm proud of him because at first, I gave him the tools. I was like, hey, this is the blueprint. This is the plan we're gonna go with, and I'm a manage it for you. And then probably like out of 2 pay cycles, I went back to do move the money around for him and everything. And he already done it before I got to it. And I was like, oh, okay. So after that, I just kind of stepped back and, just kind of monitored it and just see what he was doing. And he just went on about it by himself. Because the thing that I did for him, because like, I love video games. And it would be contradictory of me. It would be hypocritical for me to be like, man, you shouldn't be spending your money on that bullshit. Why are you buying these games? It's fucking stupid. That'd be dumb of me to say that.
I agree.
So we worked into his budget, amount for video games. So I was like, this is how much you take home. I want you to take 10% of that strictly for video games. And then from paycheck to paycheck, you should have this much to last you from paycheck to paycheck. And then whatever you have left over, that goes into your savings account and you never touch it. Now, you don't use 10% for games strictly. So that's gone. You came with this money that you have from paycheck to paycheck. That's strictly for needs and other things. It's no video games can be spent out of this money. So it's just like he had his 10%, he got his game fix, and then he has his money for his necessities from paycheck to paycheck. So like if you need socks, you know, you want to go out to a movie or some shit, get some food, whatever the case may be, that's strictly what that money is for. And then whatever he has left over after all that goes into the savings and is to never be touched. But I understand how my son is. I know he's a young man and he's going to want things. And he slip up and he buy games with his week-to-week money. So the rule of thumb that I gave to him was, I was like, all right, you know what you got to pay recurrently because he got like Netflix and all this other bullshit. So out of the money that you have from week to week, if you can afford to buy that one thing twice, so if the thing is $5 and you got $10, you can buy 2 of those. So you spend your $5, you buy what you want, then you take that other $5 and you put it in your savings account. So you basically buying the thing twice. You buy what you want, then you take that same amount, then you put it in your savings account. So it's going to do two things. It's going to do 2 things for him. It's going to save him some money, but also his week-to-week money is going to diminish. So he won't be able to do as much as he would have normally did hadn't he spent that money. So I'm trying to get him to think about that. It's like, all right, well, maybe I can hold off and not spend this money this time and I'll just get it the next go around or whatever. Because if you don't spend the 10%, you just save it. Then the next time you put another 10% with that 10%, then you got a little more money to spend on more shit. So I'm just trying to, he wrote it all down. He got a little book with this shit wrote down. So it was just like,
That's a brilliant idea. I like it. Like it a lot.
You just got to kind of work within, you got to give them the things that they like and try to work it in there manageably, I guess.
I like it.
Because I'd rather him have some good shit than me being, I don't want him to be fucked up like how I can get sometimes.
I feel you. Question number 5.
Damn, we just got the 5?
Yeah, we've been rolling. I love it though. This is great. What is the one thing that you like about yourself?
That I don't give a fuck. To my detriment. It's to my detriment sometimes or whatever. It's like some things I should care more about, I feel, you know, give a little more, you know, focus on it and whatnot. But I don't know, man. It's just like, I feel like there's nothing that has been or will be put on me that I can't handle. And I like that about myself. I think that resiliency is the thing that I like about me, because I've been in some bad shit and I've been real low. And I've seen the worst of a lot of things. And I've always come out the other side and I cling to that. And I just like, you know, none of that shit faze me. You know, if I fall and break, knock on wood first before I even say it.
Yeah.
I fall and break my leg tomorrow. I was like, yeah, what up? It's a thing. I'm gonna wear a cast or whatever for a little while, then I'll be back on my feet again. And if it's real bad, I just cut this motherfucker off. And man, you see these new legs they got now, man?
They got some good legs.
Get some Bluetooth in this bitch, some daggone Wi-Fi in this motherfucker. So I ain't worried about it.
That's a good way to look at life. It's a good way to look at life, man.
Because I mean, in my own realm of things, it's just like things could be worse. But I think about people who have it way worse in life and just going through all kind of physical limitations and ailments and all kind of stuff. And I just like, man, that could be me. So I just got to be thankful for what I got.
Makes perfect sense to me. So, what's been going on with you, Rob, man? You kind of doing a lot.
Boy. So, January 13th was the 6th year of the Random Rounds with Rob podcast.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Been doing this for 6 years. I think it hasn't been 6 years. Let me do my math because I'm horrible at that shit. That's why I write shit down. Try to give my son the game so he can. So I'll forget. Yeah, 6 years.
You've had an impressive lineup of guests, to say the least.
Yeah, it's been waning lately because, man, life has been kicking me in the gonads, good and bad. So I mean, I'm not too upset with that, but it's just like podcasting wise for the Random Rounds with Rob is just like all right, I can line these guests up or I can go do some shit with my kid. And you know, that's been more of a thing before, because like in the beginning, the first couple of years, it's just like I was focused on this and I was just grinding and trying to do all this shit. I mean, that's what led to, you know, securing all these cool guests and everything. And now it's just like, you know, my oldest child graduated within this time frame. My middle child graduated in this time frame. And you know, while I'm doing the podcast and just, you know, all this shit is just kind of, and then now it's just me, my wife, and the youngest child, the 11-year-old here now. And 2028 is going to be here before I fucking know it. And she'll be out of the house too. And it's just like,
she likes hats.
Oh, well, she like that
hat.
Yeah, I'll get to that because that tickled me pink. I took a new picture today. So she still got the hat on. I think I've seen that picture. Yeah. She still got the hat on. But it's just like, anytime the wife have an inclination that she may want to do something and I got a podcast or something scheduled, shit's canceled. We're going to do that shit, you know, going to brunch. I got my back waxed 2 weekends ago and that shit was like an experience in itself.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that. How does one get his back waxed and why does one need to get his back? Is your back really hairy?
I'm a wolf man, bro. My father and them, they gave me the wolf genes and shit. But it's not like I actively sought it out. She ain't around. Yeah, she'll never hear this anyway, unless somebody, you know, sabotage me. But Mrs. B. Rob is a notorious horrible gift giver. Oh, so for Christmas, you know, and then I'm bah humbug about the holidays anyway after October 31st. So it's just like Thanksgiving, Christmas, fuck that couch. I don't give a fuck, you know, because as far as Christmas goes, it's just like I get what I want all year. You know, why I gotta wait for this specific time frame to get, you know, this perfect gift and shit. I get what I want all year. Yeah. And then Thanksgiving is just like, man, there's only 3 of us here. I'm gonna cook all this bullshit for it to sit in the refrigerator. Then we gotta throw this shit out. That's fucking wasteful. Fuck all that couch, you know. So, you know, I'm like bah humbug during the holidays. So I even this year I told her, I was just like, man, you ain't gotta get me shit for Christmas. You know, it's just like, and my logic, I was like, I get what I want any time of the year. It's like there's nothing, you know. My birthday is more important than this shit, you know. I said, if you want to give me something for my birthday, you know. So
that's a solid point.
And then so I've been just leaning more into the family stuff because one, it was just my work tempo, like my real job is just damn, the tempo has just went sky high through the roofs to where like I was working matter of fact, I'm on one this week. I'm on a 7.5 day work schedule this week. So for 7.5 days straight, I'm working. And then before that, it was 5 days on, 2 days off. So it was just like to do all that, then to come home and try to do a podcast. I wasn't really feeling that shit. So that's why I've been doing a whole bunch of just 15, 20-minute solo episodes and everything. Because as soon as I can knock that shit out, go spend time with the family and then do that shit, then turn right back around and go back to fucking work, you know? So doing shit with them has been more the priority, and the podcast is still there. And it's just, it's surviving. But in the same vein is that Wrestling This Trash is kind of going through a changeover right now, because I started it because of my co-host Nick. You know, he would call me and we would talk about wrestling for hours. And I was like, why the fuck we not recording this shit? So that was kind of the genesis for me to make the show. You know, I was already out of the military and he was still in the military. So I just kind of started the show up. You know, I got my regular cattle cave of guests to come in here and there, and we would do the show. And whenever he can get on, you know, we would record together. So now that my work tempo, how I was explaining, changed and everything, and I couldn't do it like I wanted to, I kind of want to pass it to him because he's still in the trenches with talking about wrestling and all kinds of things. So to take some of the workload off of me, I was like, hey man, because it was a scheduling conflict with me and him. It was just like he was off from work, but I was on work, and he wanted to record and I couldn't record. So I was like, take the show, do it the way you want, and just, make it work for your schedule. So he been taking the reins on that. So it's a transition period, showing him how to upload the shit, yada. And then I'm like, I got rid of this wrestling show. I can kind of relax.
Nope.
RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. I've been a fan. I've been a part of this community for longer than my youngest child has been alive. Because that's my reference of time. Because this show has been around going on 17 years. So I know I've been listening before my youngest child was born. So I've been entrenched in this community for years. I know the creator, William R. Washington, now of Grapsody, and I think the Dad podcast on Fightful, the day after Dynamite,
yes,
or whatever the hell that just started. So he kind of backed out to pursue another career with Fightful, and it left vacancies open in RBR, and it was kind of in limbo. So being a fan and caring so much about this community, I offered. I offered to step in and like substitute till they figured out what they wanted to do. So it wasn't my intention to be a permanent host, but I was subbing in and helping as much as I could. That I got the offer. And then I was like, shit, I just kind of eased off of this other wrestling podcast to jump into another wrestling podcast. And then, I'm cool with them because Paul, he's the longest tenured host now. He invited me to his wedding. So, I mean,
yeah,
my wife met him. My wife met his soon-to-be wife, now wife, and everything. And we had a merry old time and shit. And then I told her, I was like, hey, they want me to come on permanent. She's like, well, when is it? I was like, it's Wednesday nights, once a week. She's like, well, you can go ahead and do that. So she gave me permission. And I was like, okay. I'm down, Paul. Put me on.
Let me tell you how I found out about this. I kind of know about the Black wrestling community. I've been getting more into it a lot this year, like late last year. When Grapsody became a thing, right? I'm listening to like, this show is dope. This show is awesome. I'm enjoying it and stuff like that. And I keep hearing this name, B-Rob. And I'm like, this can't be the same B-Rob I know.
Mm-hmm.
And then more and more, I start putting two and two together. Like, that's my motherfucking man. I'm like, this is pretty cool. Like that you kind of transitioned to this whole new thing that you never fell into.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And you deserve it, to be honest.
Man, and I appreciate it, man. And I was thinking about it too, because like I love doing the 3R show. I love having guests on there. I mean, without it, I would probably not be in the cockpit with you right now, talking like how we talking right now. Because I mean, who knows where my life would have gone, had I not, decided to pick up the mic 6 years ago.
Yeah, because I think I came on your show first.
Yeah. It's just one of those things or whatever. I was like, podcaster. Oh, Black guy. Come on over.
Yeah.
And I think, at that moment, because I always believe that things happen for a reason, good or bad. And I believe that moment, January 13th, 2016, led me to being here in 2022 with RBR and everything. Because once again, like I said, I love doing 3R show and everything. But, for me, I feel like I need to be long to something, because look, I was in the military for 16 plus years, I wanted to belong to something, and it's just like, I had that with 3R show. I belong to a community of podcasters, but like now being a part of RBR and everything, I know the community because I was a part of that community, and to contribute and to be a part and carry on that legacy of a show that's been on for damn near 17 years. And, that's fucking amazing to me, man. And it is like talking to Paul and all them, I do too much, it's like anybody can make a comment on something. And I'm like one of the first ones to like the shit. Even if I ain't read it, I just like, I want somebody to know that somebody's here to like the things that they put. Somebody asked a question and I try my best to answer the questions. The fucking Discord and all the stuff, I'm in this bitch 24/7. We got a leaderboard. I'm at the top. I ain't gonna let nobody top me. God damn it.
I like that though. I like that. Like because I'm in a lot of shit now. as you
Oh
know.
boy, I mean, you talk about me. I mean, I got little, sapling things that kind of grow and fizzle out and shit. I mean, dude, you just got like an empire of shit. You say Delvin Cox, and you be like, what show? Which one?
It's kind of crazy how this happened because, like, me and you have always been on that same trajectory. Like, with me being on the Who Will Win show a couple of times now, it's been a kind of a big deal and kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Now, and even that, you get with James and them or whatever, I'll be like, they owe me a lot of shit. And hold on, James, if you see this, you know it to be true. You wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for me, because I came on your show years and years ago. You say, I forget what season you are with Ray. I think
it's season 3.
Season 3. But you forget about season 0, back in the day with the other Ray and all those other people and everything, to where like I came on your show and I spit so many profanities and everything that it made you change your format of your show. It made it better, in my opinion, and it gave you the success that you have today. So you're welcome, and I want my 10%.
I'm going to make sure I clip that out. And when we release this episode, I'm going to personally send that to him.
Hey, I mean, it's a free cameo for him. There you go.
There you go.
Nah, but hey, man, for real, it's just like 2019 was, I think, one of the better years for 3R show, to where like I actually got invited to conventions and I traveled and I went to see my fellow podcasters in person where they live. And that was my mission statement. That was my goal for 2020, to go out and see more of you, because I was going to come to where you are.
Yes.
And then my main goal, because of Ray and James and everything, I was going to go to LA, and I wanted to be in studio when they were doing studio shows.
Yes.
For Who Will Win and everything. And we talked about it. I got his number in my phone so I can cuss him out. And I was just like, I'm coming to LA. I'm gonna tell you when. I want to do it in person. And I just want to meet y'all, because I mean, Ray and fucking James are amazing people.
Yes, very much so.
Just awesome people. And out of all the podcasts that I listen to, all the people that I've interacted with over the years of doing this shit, there's like the select few people that I believe can, cross over into mainstream, and their show is one of them.
Yes.
And the other one that I want to give a shout out to is Randy and Brandon at the Code 45 podcast. All 4 of these gentlemen have the potential. They have the gift that can just transcend this, this indie shit and just go into the mainstream. And I firmly believe they'll get there.
Yeah, I've always said that about you.
Hey, man, I'm trying. I'm hustling. Once again, because of this podcast, man, I got a commentary gig for a wrestling show. And that's then cool. Because of that commentary gig, I just booked another commentary gig February 12th in Dallas. So I'll be going out there next weekend to do another commentary gig.
That's pretty cool, to say the least. Can you say the company?
It's going to be, the name of the show is Black on All 4 Sides. It's a Black-owned company. It's an all-Black production, and it's going to be February 12th in Dallas, Texas. The address is 2323 Crown Road. I forget the name of the building, but that's just right off the top of my dome, because I'm ready to do the things. We're going to have Darius Lockhart versus Calvin Tankman. We're going to have my man Brian Keith and AJ Gray versus Fly Def, I believe it is. It's a young tag team out of Texas. And there's some other matches that I can't recall off the top of my head. And I'm surprised that I can remember so much, because my memory is poop. But yeah, that's coming up here February 12th in Dallas, Texas.
It's dope that you are getting all these opportunities. Like, I guess I can say the same for myself too. Getting all these opportunities from podcasting, man. It's kind of really cool that you kind of, this empire that you built is kind of paying itself off. Doesn't necessarily have to be monetarily, which is also great that it's doing that too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man.
Just the looks.
And it's just like, starting out is like, I didn't give a fuck about the money, but money wise, my only, and still to this day, goal is for the show to sustain itself. That's it. That's all I want. I mean, if I can make a couple extra bucks off of merch or whatever else it may be, cool. But the main focus, the main goal is for it to sustain itself, to buy new equipment, computers, or, pay for server fees and, all the other shit, just for it to sustain itself and I not have to worry about paying it out of my other paycheck and shit.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I look at it too. Long as the podcast can live on its own, I don't got to pay for too much on it. I'm good. And I've been fortunate enough. Not every podcast can do that. I've been fortunate enough where the podcast has paid for itself essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, and then like things with like Patreon and all those things or whatever. If you are a podcast that can, if you have the time to put in the extra work or whatever, I recommend it because it'll pay off in the long run or whatever. But if you just, and I was guilty of this, and I'm on record, I'm on my podcast and other podcasts saying that, just open one up because, you're not paying for it and it's not going to hurt you or whatever, but it's going to do something to you a little bit up here to where like, hey man, I started the Patreon and ain't nobody, contributing or whatever. I was like, well, what are you putting into that motherfucker? It's like, well, I mean, I opened it, and that's the kind of the thing that I ran into to where I shut my shit down because like, I didn't have time to make extra content or whatever. I mean, the extent of my extra content was going to Walmart and pointing out the choices that were made. So, I mean, I can't put money on that.
I'm glad that you brought that up because people don't realize Patreon is a lot of work.
Like, yes.
My Patreon alone, I want to say, has like 6 different shows. Monthly.
Yeah, I know.
Monthly. Yes. It's not like monthly, like 6 different shows come out monthly. Plus you get like the early episode of this podcast itself. So it's like a lot of stuff on there. And it's kind of a hustle. You got to kind of just like you hustle to put episodes out for the masses, you got to hustle just as hard for that Patreon audience, if not more, especially considering they're paying for it.
Because they're paying for it. So you have to put all the extra mojo on that shit.
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck the main show sometime. I gotta focus on the people that pay me,
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy to say that, but that's true. Like when I took a break in, which I rarely do. I try to take them every December, but that never happens. I took one this December, and I didn't release episodes of the Delvin Cox Experience for like a month, but that Patreon was still popping.
Yeah, I was danger close. It's been consecutive since January 13th, 2016. I have never missed a week of this podcast. Never, ever. Not just, I mean, it's been delayed to maybe a day or so or whatever, but I have never missed a week of the Random Ramblers with Rob. I can't do it. Even if the episode 5 minutes, I'll go in there for 5 minutes, but I can't stop because I feel like I know myself. So I know if I stop, that's fucking it. The door is closed. It's going to take a lot to make me come back or whatever. But, since I am doing RBR, if that was to ever happen or whatever, I mean, this would be my main and sole focus. I mean, which kind of it is majority of it because we do have the Patreon aspect. And I put a lot of time into that. And I find that funny because I thoroughly enjoy doing it over here rather more than for what I was trying to do for myself. Because like over there, it's just like, I don't have a focus group or nothing really. I mean, I have, people that listen to the show and everything or whatever, but to bounce an idea off of somebody, off myself, I'll be like, all right, I want to try this. I'll be like, nah, I don't do that shit. And then, something else, I get distracted by some other shit and then I just, whatever. But, now that I'm over here, I got Paul, Noah, and Cody over here. I'm like, hey man, I'm thinking about doing this. And then I get that instant feedback from one of those 3 guys. And it's just like, yeah, but what about this? And it's just like, oh, I like that shit, So it's just like, I get more invested in what's going on this side of things. But anything that I can do with, my platform on Random Realms with Rob, it automatically transfers over to RBR. Because like, if I can pull a guest from over there to over here and vice versa, I mean, it's just a give and take and everything. And then the gentleman over there with RBR giving me that latitude to do as such, because I was going in hesitant. I was like, hey man, I'm on RBR, so I need to just focus on RBR. And Paul was like, nah, man, it's just like, you do things too. I mean, you should promote that. You should highlight those things or whatever, because, this show is all of ours, you know. And I was like, oh, this is fucking great.
Yeah, and not to give you too much credit, but I am right now. You Random Rambles with Rob. A lot of people, everybody knows you, man.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you, loves you, respects you. It's like a common thing. Like, if people don't see Rob, they ask me where Rob's at.
Yeah, I mean,
Rob, you heard from Rob?
That's, man, that's fucking weird, man. I appreciate it, but it's just like, because, and you know, to put it out there on Front Street or whatever, you know, I got this account, I got all these crazy motherfuckers, robots, and all this other German, Russian porn people following me and shit. So I got on the internet and I was like, how do I mass unfollow on goddamn Twitter? And found a video and I went through it and I started deleting people that I didn't want to delete. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then, you know, people was in me, why you unfollow me? And I was like, hey, man, it was an accident. I put a tweet out saying what the fuck I was doing before I did it. So I was like, I'm glad you hit me up, though. So now I know.
Yeah, that was an interesting time because people know you're my friend. And they message like, what's up with Rob? Rob, right, man?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. What the fuck you talking about? I just talked to him the other day. And they're like, he unfollowed me and he left. Like, yeah. I'm like, oh, no. Let me hit him up.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't do it purposefully. I didn't mean to offend anybody. I mean, I appreciate each and every one of you. And just to even have somebody not to ask me directly, but to ask you to ask me. Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Oh, shit.
But yeah, man, I appreciate everything that you do. And in the podcasting game, and the person you are, you've always been a genuine dude, man. So I've always appreciated that about you. The hard work you put in the podcast, and I'm happy that you're seeing success in it. RBR show is going good. I wish I didn't record Wednesdays so I could be on the show once in a while.
Hey, man, Patreon is open for you to come on over too. And then shit, I mean, Random Rambles with Rob. The door is always open for you to come over, Playboy.
Oh, yeah, we definitely can do that. We definitely can do that, man. What are your plans for the RBR show? Because we got a lot of stuff coming up, and I know people kind of been down on it. Yep. WrestleMania is coming up soon.
So, yeah. So check it out. I found out the locations for this year's WrestleMania and next year's WrestleMania. You know, this year is going to be in Dallas, which is right up the road from me. Yeah. And then the following year is going to be in LA. So I knew this in 2020 when they made the original announcement. So I've had a hotel booked in Dallas since 2020.
Already. Oh, so you're good.
Yeah, already ready to go. And then, you know, I just did it just because. I mean, I got family that live in Dallas, so I could have just went crash with one of them. But I just did it just because. I mean, it's a reservation. I can just cancel it, you know, whatever. But just since then, since I made that reservation in 2020, the landscape of, you know, WWE and professional wrestling has changed significantly.
Big time.
To where I don't even watch Raw and SmackDown week to week anymore. To where, like, that's weird to say because I do a weekly fucking wrestling podcast. But this is my thing. I'm not going to subject myself to something that I don't enjoy. And then that's turning me into one of the motherfuckers that hate watch. And then I got to come on the show and talk about all the shit that I hate. I just rather not watch it and just damn focus on the shit that I rather enjoy, because Impact, with all its flaws, is a pretty decent show. The only thing they need over there is more people on the roster, and I believe they can just take off from where they are right now. They got some good talent over there. They got some good young talent over there, and they got some notable talent over there, but they just need more people, because every time I turn on Impact, it's them goddamn decay motherfuckers on the TV first. And the shit gets on my goddamn nerves. I need to see more people. I'm tired of seeing Eric fucking Young and all kinds. No, we need more people.
I've said this, and this is a hot take I said people got mad at me about. I said Keith Lee would kill an Impact.
Yes. And then, like, if you would have said that in 2020, I would have said use a damn fool. But now, the way so many things has changed, I would love to see somebody go somewhere and succeed other than WWE or AEW.
Yeah, and that's my point. That's why I said it, because if you look at the landscape of AEW, it's starting to get crowded over there.
Yeah.
Very crowded.
And then they're about to go through some changes anyway, because I know a lot of the reason because they've been stacking content for dark elevation and all that stuff, because eventually, maybe within the next year or so, maybe more, they're going to invest in or get put in with a streaming service. I know they will, because that's the only reason that you would, produce that much content.
I agree.
I mean, WWE had the advantage of, being around longevity to amass all that content. So when they dropped the network, it wasn't that hard. But this is a company that started from the ground up, so they have to amass all that stuff, because it's going to be kind of weird to be like, hey, we want $9.99 or whatever a month, and we only got 1 year's worth or 2 years worth of wrestling on a week-to-week basis on one show. Yeah, that's kind of asking for much. So that's why you have dark elevation, which is an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes fucking 15, 16 goddamn matches and shit. So you can amass that library so you can go to a streaming company or, give you time to make your own and be like, hey, this is what I got to offer,
Yeah. And plus you consider that you can't watch past episodes of Rampage and Dynamite.
Yeah, that's fucking hard. I mean, you can do it with the TNT and TBS app.
Yeah.
But if you got Xfinity, so
I think Fight used to have it at one point.
But it's timed. So it's just like it's only up there for a limited amount of time. So you can watch it live, you can watch it the day after, but by the end of the week, this shit's gone.
Yeah. So I think it makes sense for them to start looking toward that avenue, maybe HBO Max, probably, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what everybody been saying. People that have been talking about them getting on, they've been talking about HBO Max, because that's tied in with Warner Media, right?
Yeah,
which owns TBS and TNT. So
I think it makes sense to me. Yeah.
And then you put them on there with Peacemaker, who's John Cena has a show on TNT, TBS, or one of those channels.
It's on TNT.
Yeah, who's working with Warner Media, who would make you allude and think that, hey, we might get John Cena on AEW one day.
That would be cool.
Stick it to Vince. Do it to him, John. I know he won't, but I'm just like, hey, fuck it. Go get your 17th record-breaking world title in AEW. How about that?
That would be really cool.
Oh, you won't do it in WWE? Go over and do it at AEW. Fuck it. Shock the world and go do it at Impact. I know they'll put it on you real fast.
As soon as he walks in the door.
He was like, John, his fucking first chord of his entrance music went hit, and they're just throwing the title on this bastard. And then now, for him, I don't think it would be a money thing. It's just like, I'll go do it just to do it. But hey, man, they're gonna have to throw the bag at that man.
If I'm correct, The Rock was on Impact TV.
Yes, for Ken Shamrock's induction into the TNA Hall or Impact Hall of Fame or whatever.
So they made that happen. Mm-hmm. John Cena seems feasible.
You never know. Yeah. Now I can firmly say that. You never know with professional wrestling, because just none of this shit is predictable. Who would have thought we would see Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson show up on AEW television at the same damn time?
Yeah.
Coming off a pay-per-view on WWE television.
Who would have thought that we'd be seeing CM Punk wrestle again?
And then I tell this to everybody that when we have these wrestling conversations or whatnot. My wife, she knows about wrestling because of me. So CM Punk came back. And I told her, I was like, oh shit, CM Punk came back. She's like, oh, okay. She wasn't she was like, yeah, whatever, because she only know the CM Punk of WWE. So she automatically assumed that he came back at WWE. She's like, huh, okay. I was like, no, he came back to AEW. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
She was legitimately shocked. And then she knows about Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, because of Total Bellas.
Yeah. That's
so
crazy.
She know who he is. So I was like, hey, because she know about his injury. He wasn't wrestling and all kind of stuff and yada, yada, yada. I was like, hey, Daniel Bryan came back. Or Bryan Danielson, whatever the fuck. She's like, oh, okay. Assuming it was WWE. I was like, no, AEW. And she's like, what the hell are they doing? They buying everybody.
It's crazy to think about it, because it was like, I think the big moment for me where I was like, oh shit, this is kind of amazing, when Sting came back, and they were like, "We got Sting." I'm like, "Fuck you, mean you got Sting?"
I was on the fence about that one because you know how I feel with old motherfuckers.
Yeah, you don't like old people.
I was like, get your old ass out of here, man. You're taking young people's spots. But he did what he did as a performer. He swayed my opinion and he changed my thought process on the things and whatnot. Because they're using him sparingly and he's not dominant and overbearing and whatnot. The
reason why
I'm good with that.
I figured that one would work as opposed to them bringing somebody like Hulk Hogan or somebody like that.
Oh my God, I will never watch it again. And I was lenient with Eric Bischoff, but he was just like in a cameo role. He has no position of authority in the company, so I'm okay with that. But God, I remember when I stopped watching TNA when I seen that motherfucker come up at the press conference. I was like, oh, this show's done.
Yeah. He kind of killed TNA.
Him, Bischoff, and Russo.
Yeah.
Same motherfuckers that killed WCW.
Yeah. So when because I was a big Sting fan as a kid. And when Sting came up, I'm like, yeah. And he was still in good shape. Like, yeah, he can still go. Because Sting never really did stuff that was labor intensive. He would like chop you here, maybe do a body slam, do Stinger splash, Scorpion Death Drop, Scorpion Death Lock. We are out. So I'm like, this makes sense.
That motherfucker took that power bomb from who was it? Wardlow or Brian Cage? Brian Cage. He took that power bomb that first time. I was like,
oh yeah. I
held my breath. I was like, oh, he good.
it was that moment, and I think one of the cool. I think it was who they were fighting against. They was fighting against
maybe 2.0.
2.0. That's what it was. And I think they slammed it through a table.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit. And then he got back and like, oh crap, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he did. I was like, yeah, he is thoroughly impressing me or whatever. I was just like, okay, all right, I can't be mad at this. But you know, that shit with the Undertaker and all that, boy, I would chew my hat every time. I was like, this motherfucker, get him out of here.
Every year he would retire.
That son of a bitch, man. He had 3 good times to hang it up and he fucked it off for money or whatever. But to counter myself and counter that point or whatever. This is me speaking as a fan, as a watcher of professional wrestling. That's my opinion of the product that I am viewing on my television. I don't like that shit. But as a man, as a human being, I cannot be mad at an individual for securing the bag. You know, he's doing what he had to do to take care of himself and his family. So, I mean, that's understandable. I would do the same thing if I had to. So, I mean, I can't be mad at that. But from just a television viewing standpoint, fuck that shit.
I agree. So, is there anything else we got to talk about before we go, B-Rob?
Man, tune in Wednesday nights for RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. It's live. You can listen to it live on mixler.com/fanoff. You can join us in the Facebook community, RBR Wrestling. You can find us on Twitch, RBR Wrestling. Find us on Instagram, RBR Wrestling. Twitter, RBR Wrestling. And YouTube somewhere. I think it's not specifically RBR Wrestling on YouTube, but you'll find the right one if you look it up. And support this man to, I'm pointing the wrong way, to this
You're
way.
pointing the right way.
Yeah. No, you're right there.
No, I'm right other way. See,
I'm pointing on my screen. I'm pointing at you. You're on this side on my screen.
Yeah, but it looks like right now, me looking at you like you're pointing at the wall.
All right. Well, support that man on either side, whatever side he may be on your viewing experience if you're viewing this, because he's a great human being.
Thank you, brother.
I owe him which way? Fuck. I owe him a lot of shit, like monetarily and physically too. But we ain't gonna talk about that. But great human being, great fucking personality or whatever. And just look out for his shit coming, because you're here for his show. You know, I'm just an accessory piece or whatever. He Macho Man, I'm Elizabeth. You know, he got me up on his shoulder and shit, right? You know, so support the man. Go to his Patreon, buy some merch, do all that shit. Get the man his just due.
Also, forgot to mention that. Check out the interview B-Rob has with Baron Black on the Random Rappers with Rob podcast. That is a great interview.
Especially the video part.
Yes, that is a great interview. Definitely want to check that out. Hear about Tournament.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
And I got to go. I went to see it live. I flew to Atlanta to watch the show. I don't have it on me, but I got, because for those of you who are fans of professional wrestling, you've been watching it for a number amount of years, whether you watch WWE television or independent, wrestling or whatever have you. There is a move within the Black wrestling community known as the flatliner. There's a preponderance of Black professional wrestler, independent or mainstream, that do the flatliner. And I am claiming it as our move for the Black professional wrestler. The flatliner is now our move. I mean, there's other people that do it, but it's predominantly us. And just for an example, the move that R-Truth does, the little Jimmy or whatever he calls it, that's a flatliner, a variation of it. The pay dirt that Shelton Benjamin does, that's a variation of the flatliner. Cedric Alexander does a springboard flatliner. Swerve, Shane Strickland, he does a roll into the ring springboard flatliner. Goddamn, Myron Reed does a flatliner. I mean, I can keep on going. And I got a freaking thread on my Instagram. Not Instagram. I got a thread on my fucking Twitter that you can follow at 3R Show with video evidence of all manner of Black professional wrestling doing this signature move called the flatliner. So that's our move. I got a hat. It's an all black hat, green letters, and a red black power fist for the the African colors.
Yes.
And I went there and I represented at Terminus for RBR. And I got to meet Baron Black, who I interviewed in person. I got to meet Jonathan Gresham. I got to meet Kiera Hogan again.
Lucky man.
And it was a great time. It was a great show. They had some hiccups, but it's what you expect from a brand new company that started from the ground up. And you got two great independent wrestlers in Jonathan Gresham and Baron Black at the helm of that thing, which they kind of pissed me off. And if you're looking at it, yeah, I'm talking to y'all. I paid the money to go to Terminus. I paid for my ticket to support y'all, thinking that, this is the start of something. I understand that. But you motherfuckers turned right around in quick fashion and booked another show. And I was like, God damn it.
Terminus the sequel.
Terminus 2, Electric Boogaloo and shit. And I was like, motherfucker, I just like, if I would have known this ahead of time, I would have planned it out properly so I can attend both shows, because I really want to support this company. It looks like it's going to be a thing going forward and whatnot. I thought it was going to, usually is, maybe less than quarterly or month to month and whatnot, but we didn't know what this was coming out or whatever. And we didn't allude to any of that in the interview and everything. So I'm just excited for it to be more, but I'm pissed because I ain't gonna be able to go.
So, I'll tell you what, the next time when you can go, because it's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'll ride up there and I'll go with you.
$70 got me to Atlanta.
Yeah. I'll ride up there and go with you because my mom stays up there. Wouldn't be too hard for me to get there, I don't think.
Yeah. Shout out to Will and Phil of Grapsity fame and whatnot.
Definitely.
We all went in together to go to Terminus on an Airbnb. So we all stayed together that weekend.
That had to be fun.
It was. Phil turned up his nose at me because he's a pizza snob and I went and got Pizza Hut. So he's like, what is this? This is peasant food.
This is Pizza Hut. This is what's around here.
This is all they got, man. I'm sorry. And we all went to Walmart. So that was cool. And we had Cheryl's Chicken and Waffles. Because we went to a Waffle House in Atlanta at 11 o'clock at night and the bitches was closed. So
that's weird.
I don't understand this place.
That's weird.
Yeah. But shout out to Grapsity. Once again, Delvin, whatever side you're on. Most praise to you. And yeah, that's all I got.
This has been it's always a blast talking to you, brother, man. It's always fun, man. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for checking out B-Rob. As always, Delvin Cox Experience. We are out. Peace. That is perfect.